Sunday morning, 17th of December. Let's see what's going on. There we go. Hello. Welcome to my Sunday live, getting back into the swing of things. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, I'm going to change my glasses. There we go, I'm going to push that back a bit. There we go. Alrighty. Shuffle, shuffle. So this is all about me connecting with my audience again. I've been absent for a long time. Okay, going to deal with that card later. Okay, so I pulled out a stack and some interesting contrast in there. So what is the story giving us today? So what have I got? 3, 5, 6, 7 cards. Okay, the number 7 for me is spirituality. Just press everything that way to give myself some more space. I've got more devices in here than TVNZ. Okay, right. So the reason I say contrast is because we've got the Sun card and we've got the Spider card. So let me show you those in conjunction of each other. So here we go. So we've got the light, we've got the dark. So I'm just going to move them around. So I've got 3 on the left, 2 in the middle, 2 on the right. And the other contrast that we have is somebody winning and somebody lost. So I just pull out there. So, oh, go that way. Right. And a little bit again, it's all about contrast today. Bedraggled, world at their feet. And then we've got the Fool, we've got the Adventurer ready to go and start a new chapter. Okay. So what am I making out of all of this, I ask? I don't know. Let's see what happens. Okay. So my head is starting to turn to the woman on stage, even though my left hand is reaching towards the Fool. And so now what we've got is the Sun in the middle. And interesting as I use the word sun, S-U-N, because I actually get the other word in my head, S-O-N. So it feels like there is some conflict within the female on the stage with going on the adventure because of a male child who, and it's interesting because I look at the magician on the left, bottom left, because the parent knows that the son also has the world at their feet. But they're not willing to let the parent go and have another chapter. And possibly that's partly because of protection, because of a change in circumstances, but also because the male child has some anxiety as well. And I'm getting, it's interesting, I'm touching my chest as I say that, anxiety about masking, not knowing, not being able to be their full selves just yet. So how is that going to work? Well, possibly hasn't come out. Okay, so hands are moving around the cards, focusing back on the spider. So it's a catch-22. Both people want to go and do their thing. Both are nervous, but there's no more time. So I'm going to pull another card on that. Okay, there's no more time. Interesting how that one comes out after I say that. So you've had to make the choice. And again, if you look on the top of that card here, you'll see there's actually a face. I've never actually seen that face before, and it looks like a mask. Things have to be done now. So taking your time, you've done the taking your time bit. Things must move forward because you know you've got to start collecting and receiving. So the spider bit is really about everything in the past you've had to walk away from. Okay, and that's part of the reason why you as the parent are not mucking around. You were looking at the hall of mirrors now with the person standing under the light. There were only one or two options out of the half dozen that made real sense. So you've had to make a big choice. Okay. So part of you is flowing with it, part of you is scared, and let's come back to the resolution of that. So I'm looking at the must go card, I'm looking at the on stage card, and it's interesting now I'm looking at that stage card again. The movement that I'm seeing is the balcony that she's looking at to on her left is actually coming down like an elevator. Okay, so that connection about who she's going to meet, and then obviously she will jump in the elevator and be elevated, yeah, to a new audience. Okay, so back to the Fool card. Taking things for granted. If there was something that you were going to shift, coming back to the resolution, something you were going to clear to make this a little bit easier around the anxiety and a little bit of the fear of unknown. Taking time for yourself, asking yourself questions about why it's been impossible to not give yourself time in the past, because you're going to need that going forward. You're going to have to make a habit of looking after yourself more so that your intuition keeps you safe. Because the one thing that being busy does is stops you from listening to your intuition, right? So, Marlene, hello. Kia ora, welcome. That was a big wave, wasn't it? Right. Okay, now interesting. Interesting, because I can see how that can relate now that I've said that. Parts of that were a mirror. I could see, like the elevator and the balcony, I could see was for me as well. But definitely the first part of the anxiety around that about the male child definitely resonates. Okay, so honing in a little bit more for Marlene. And I'm looking at the card with the woman. Here, I'll show you while you're on the hi Tina. It's that one there. Okay, now the first thing, Marlene, that I am looking at here is the fact that that pyramid has been chopped off. Okay, and the line that I'm getting there as I say that is, what are you chopping your nose off to spite your face for? Okay, interesting. I'm now looking at the sun card, and in the middle of my sun card, there's 4 quarters in the middle. Down the bottom there's 2 halves of a face, and again the nose has been split in 2 because it's in quarters. So taking a step back, I get nudged to the Fool card because the person is, you know, you're wanting to lift off. As I say that, I get the picture of a briefcase and the words unpack. So what have you not unpacked yet to make this a little bit easier on everybody so that they can let you go? It's ironic, I know, that you've still got to do the work to make it easier for them, but it's what I'm getting. And then I look back at the sun card, so it'll be easier. And again, we're talking about options before you jumped on here, I think, or maybe you were on. You know, there's more petals around that sun card, right? So you're going to end up, once you can unpack this just a little bit more for ease, for a few more, you'll find that you give yourself more options. And that'll give you a little bit more flow as well. Okay. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Making it easier for everybody else. Well, people don't know what we know, right? Yeah. So the two new cards that I picked out for you, Marlene, were the waterfall card with the woman in there, and then you've got the parent again with what looks like a male child looking at the light. Okay, so passing on some of your understandings, so that they don't feel completely exposed to the world without you there. So that you're not crossing fingers and toes when you go, that everything's going to be okay, so that you know that what you've done is enough, right? Just keep checking in so that you know in your own way, with your own measurement skills, when you've delivered that piece of insight that will help them to gauge. Yep, awesome. Kia ora, Annie. Good to see you on here. All right, Marlene, I'm going to leave that with you. That was timely. And I shall have a reshuffle. Thank you everybody for being on. I got a nudge this morning as I drove out the gate to go and do some shopping and come back and jump on. This room is either extremely hot or extremely cold, so I thought the temperature might be alright for half an hour. Okay, so connecting with Tina, let's see what we've got for you. Right, put that one in. I'm holding that one out. Why am I holding that one out? I don't know, put that one back in. Okay, so if I'm adding things back in, Tina, I am returning information back into the mix. I'm returning ideas back into the mix. Environment, I'm looking at my dress on a piece of paper on a prescription, so it's all about your environment at the moment and what you're adding back into it. So you've obviously spent some time removing things, removing people, discarding some ideas, and now you're back to the opposite of bringing in what you want. So that's good. I mean, that's what clearing is, right? So we'll just pick one or two cards for Tina if she's still on. Okay, so I haven't shuffled them very well because Marlene's is still out there. Okay, now that's cool because I've got that particular card there. So if you've been adding things in and out, the other thing I did get before I pulled that card was where are the relationships at? So that's a good sign that whatever you've done to change things and navigate relationships has altered that as well. There is a new dynamic coming in there. Whether or not you pick that up is completely up to you. It's your choice. And I seem to be getting that for the last 12 months. That's been the remembering for you, is that you always have free will and you always have a choice. And sometimes one of the hardest things to do is to say, no, I'm not ready. Knowing that it'll come back in some other form, more appropriate and easier. The theme of the day seems to be the word easy. Okay. I will leave that there. Thank you, Tina. That's cool. Okay. You can pick it up and you can put it down, and you can pick it up and you can put it down. Especially if you're someone who is evolving and moving that quick. So it's not about playing with other people's lives or other people's feelings. It's about being honest about the fact that you're shifting all the time. Okay, so checking in with ourselves all the time to make sure that we are operating with integrity. Good point. Okay, Arnie, here we go. It's always funny how I end up speeding up when I do this. Okay. Don't know if you can all hear that. My husband's clanging pots and pans in the kitchen. It's been interesting moving from a 4-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom, little awkward. The noise just reverberates. Okay. Arnie. So Arnie, I've got 3 cards for you. Now, interesting because they've all kind of got that orange colouring in them, even though the blue's hidden down there on the devil card. and we've got some darkness in the financial card. All I'm seeing is the orange. Now the orange, in terms of the energy centers in the body, is all about desire and what we're wanting, you know. And of course that turns into what we're generating, what we're putting out, and what we're getting back. Okay, so that's got the 3 faces of who you are. Everything's up in the air and juggling. You seem to be doing your best to receive. You're not quite getting what it is that you want, and you're not quite sure how to shake this. So then I flick it to the financial card. Now we know that we are living in some interesting times in the country at the moment. I'm not going to use the tagline that gets promoted because most of that is just marketing and propaganda, but we won't go down that hole. Okay, so to the financial card now. This is a really interesting card, okay? Now what I'm actually seeing is the flower on the outside of the window where all the doom and gloom is. So the flower's a bit dead, but I'm actually seeing the flower. Where's this going to go? I'm seeing the flower be deposited into the piggy bank, not the actual coin. Okay, so lots of fluffing about. Ideas, is that word again? So you've got the big picture concepts, but you're not being specific about what it is you need to do to generate the funds to create what it is that you want. You've got to get specific. And the reason I'm just slowing down there is because that's what I got when I drove in the gate when I came home. And that's what I do. I tend to get things before I talk to people, even if it's just going to go and have a cup of tea or a coffee with them. So you're hesitating, you're not being specific, and there are people that take advantage. So your energy gets maneuvered, it gets pushed out of the way, so you're not retaining what you need for you to go and do what you need to do. And on some level, and I'm looking at the devil card as I say that, that's comfortable. So what you want to be working with is your fear of success, your fear of being right and other people being wrong. Normally it's the other way around, but I feel like you're understanding that when you actually start acting on what you're knowing, you're going to end up leaving a couple of people or a few people behind, and that's the fear. Now, in saying that, the sun is shining through all the bits and pieces in that devil card, so it doesn't matter how long you stay in this particular phase 4, you're still going to end up at your destination. It's going to be up to you as to how long that takes, as to how quickly you make those decisions to put yourself forward. Okay, and you can see the locks in the financial card. It's not like you're dealing with the unknown, right? It's just a case of when you're ready to make those decisions, you'll just systematically unlock and remove the barriers that are placed there, which is cool because a lot of other people don't know what they're dealing with. At least you have some vision and you can see, right? Yeah. Tall poppy syndrome, eh? It's worse in certain places than others. But you can work with that with compassionate inquiry as well. Okay. So, what am I doing here? There we go. Awesome. All right, guys. That might be enough for Sunday morning. We might leave it there. Thank you all for being on, and we'll talk to you all soon. Bye.